Welcome to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Carlisle is home to a thriving downtown, strong neighborhoods, arts and culture, abundant recreation, and strong civic engagement. While rich in history, Carlisle is constantly evolving to meet the challenges and opportunities of today's environment. To ensure that we continue to build a more equitable and resilient Carlisle, we must not only focus on the present and plan for our future, but we must also reckon with our past. In 2019, important work began on returning a former African-American cemetery into the sacred space it once was. In January of this year, we held a community town hall discussing racial equity. Out of this meeting, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission formed to help acknowledge, address, and heal the historical wounds of racism in our community. Like all communities in America, the COVID-19 pandemic impacted us in a major way. Thanks to our existing community infrastructure, help was quickly given to those most in need. A collaborative group of community leaders and volunteers assembled and worked to identify emergency and ongoing needs. Even during a global pandemic, we kept our eyes on the future by establishing a Climate Action Commission tasked with creating a plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Our community stepped up once again, and a record number of residents volunteered to serve. The Commission will ensure their plan reflects our community's values and addresses environmental and racial justice factors.
Good afternoon. My great-grandmother's name was Fleta Mae Jordan. She was born in 1900 and at the age of 71 was faced with the impending conversion of the Black cemetery across the street from her home. The conversion was troubling for her, and the plan for said conversion was not clear. As a vocal community activist, my great-grandmother was adamantly concerned with the policies and decisions of local government and knew that what was taking place was not only wrong, but that it would have long-lasting and negative impacts on the community that she loved. This woman, with little formal education, petitioned the court, and when all of the conversion was completed, the headstone with the family last name of ours, Jordan, is the one and only headstone that remains. I often think about how different the movement becomes when the only remnant of a sordid history is a smooth, erected piece of granite, seemingly out of place, but intent on igniting a community to do better. And that's what this community has done by taking small yet significant measures toward righting wrongs and rectifying past behavior, by moving toward radical apology, truth, and reconciliation. I'll now hand it over to Kara Curtis from the Cumberland County Historical Society.
Stories of our local African American community members were excluded from the narrative. This space, this Lincoln Cemetery, is a visible reminder of that. This sacred space is smaller than a football field. The Cumberland County Historical Society's ongoing research shows that the cemetery is several decades older than thought. For decades, it was understood to be the final resting place of around 100 people. Today's research shows that around 650 community members are buried in this hallowed ground. Working with a variety of community partners on descendant-driven projects has led to a rebirth of the cemetery. Its evolving history is led by descendants and the community that surrounds it. With funding from the PA Humanities Council, the PA Council of the Arts, and community partners, we were able to create visible reminders of the sacredness of this space with the Community Art Project. The mosaic tiles installed at the site were designed by descendants, community members at the Black Cultural Festival, and students that attend programming at Hope Station in Memorial Park. Veterans' names and the surnames of those buried in the hollowed ground are painted into the mural. Community members and interns are helping to tell the stories of Carlisle's Civil War United States colored troops. The stories that we are now learning and telling impact our community. Learning the truth about our past will help lead to a more equitable future. It is now my pleasure to introduce President Ensign and the Community Action Network.
Thank you, Kara. Judges, Carlisle CAN Community Action Network was established 4 years ago. Our goals at the time were to work on affordable housing, livable wages, and racial and social justice. During the last 18 months especially, I believe we have lived up to our motto, Carlisle, City with a Conscience. Totaling over 90 members, in the last 18 months, approximately 55 members have been active every week for our meeting. We've established many subcommittees who have been working tirelessly to make sure no one in our city goes hungry, that everyone has access to healthcare, had a mask, that businesses could continue operations online, children had after-school tutoring, and as you've heard, we've begun to confront the racial inequities in our city. We helped United Way raise close to $125,000. With our healthcare partners, Sadler and UPMC, we are still working to ensure that everyone can get a vaccine. One of the reasons we are ranked 5th in the state for total people vaccinated. Judges, at this point in American history, how many cities can say they work across all political divides? They work with all members of our faith-based community, including our Black churches, with all of our business leaders, with our lead NGOs, including Hope Station and Project Share, our healthcare partners, as well as our 3 anchor educational institutions, Dickinson College, the U.S. Army War College, the Commandant or Deputy Commandant was on every week, and Dickinson Law School. I'm proud of all the work that CAN has done. One of the initiatives that developed from CAN was the Civic Action Internship Program. Gary Kirk, the Executive Director of Dickinson College's Center for Civic Learning and Action, will tell you about this important program. Thank you.
As the pandemic progressed, Carlisle CAN generated many essential projects. CAN members were always willing to pitch in, but there often seemed to be more work than people. At the same time, many college students were learning that their summer 2020 internships were canceled or revoked. This challenging moment presented an opportunity to leverage the talent and energy of Dickinson students to support the CAN. I thought we might be able to recruit 2 or 3 interns, but we eventually selected 16 from a pool of nearly 80 applicants. Interns worked in staff mentored teams on about 24 projects ranging from database development to public health campaigns. Interns noted that despite being remote, they felt more connected than ever to the Carlisle community. Every intern gained valuable civic and professional skills, and at least 2 have decided to pursue careers in public service due in part to their experiences. I'm delighted to turn it over to Jessica Poe, representing the United Way of Carlisle, to talk about her experience working with our Civic Action interns.
Thanks, Gary. United Way was pulled in many different directions to respond to the needs created by the pandemic. Dickinson Civic Engagement interns gave us the capacity to turn our annual Fill the Bus event into a virtual fundraiser and collection effort. One student created the amazing promotional video, which just started, and 2 other students created online shopping lists and also priced out what it would cost to order pre-stuffed backpacks in bulk. Due to this collaboration, we were able to have community members, businesses, and faith organizations underwrite the total amount for school supplies and backpacks for 1,000 children in our community from low-income households. I'd now like to introduce Joel Hicks, Chair of the Climate Action Commission.
Thank you very much, Jess. Jury, here in Carlisle, we understand that global climate change is one of the most serious threats to our collective future. Although we know we can't solve it alone, all levels of government and all communities must do their part. Last year, Carlisle Borough passed a resolution to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions to levels consistent with our national commitments. This effort requires coordination with all sectors of our community, as you'll hear from our Climate Action Commission team leads. Additionally, we've partnered with our sister city in Carlisle, England, to learn from each other's experiences. Now, here is Mohammed Badisi, our Projects and Estimates team lead.
Thank you, Joel. In addition to the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, the Carlisle Climate Action Commission also aims to make Carlisle a leader in clean and local renewable energy, and to transform our buildings into high-performance places to live, work, and play. The Commission is working to transform Carlisle into a community where people can walk, they can bike, they can take mass transit, or even carpool in ways that are safe, of course, accessible, and affordable, all within this transportation network. And through the Commission's work, Carlisle is aiming to become a leader in sustainable and smart transportation. through innovative partnerships, policies and programs, and of course, technology innovation. With that in mind, and it's my pleasure to hand it off to my co-commissioner, Carla Farrell.
Communities of color and low-income populations are often underserved and underrepresented in our programs, investments, and decision-making. This exacerbates the disparities in public health, food, energy, housing, air and water quality, economic prosperity, and the overall quality of life. To create a sustainable climate action plan, we must embed racial equity, social justice, and social cohesion within the infrastructure, environmental, social, and economic aspects of resilience. The Commission will work directly with community faith leaders, racial justice leaders, and educators to ensure outreach to those underserved and comprehension of their challenges and incorporate their experiences into our climate action plan priorities.
To create a plan that addresses our community's needs, we'll need to actively engage with and listen to all stakeholders in the Carlisle community, including residents, small business owners, religious communities, and neighborhood and nonprofit organizations. Throughout the development of our climate action plan, the community engagement team is seeking input from the community and with the goal to ensure that the final plan reflects our community's values and maintains community support. Our team uses various methods to engage with the community. This includes online and paper surveys. We've also hosted online workshops and an in-person community bike ride. And we've participated in community events such as the Amani Festival, a multicultural celebration in Carlisle. We'll also be participating in Carlisle Hope Station's Juneteenth celebration this year. These events provide opportunities to talk to our community and receive feedback to share with the Commission. The Commission will use this information to propose creative plans, projects, and policies to benefit all stakeholders in the Carlisle community. And now I'll hand it off to Anthony Underwood, leader of the Pathways and Analytics team.
Thank you, Sarah. The Climate Action Commission has brought together dozens of organizations and residents into this climate action planning process. Businesses, nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, local and state government agencies are all playing an important role in our climate action planning. And it's really only through this patient and inclusive process that the innovation and community buy-in that we need can actually happen. For example, our local utility providers are being challenged to view Carlisle as an opportunity to explore new technologies and programs to accelerate a transition to a lower carbon future in our community. Our collaboration even reaches internationally with our sister city, Carlisle, England.
For us, it's really resonates with the work that we're doing at the moment, but it's particularly, it just shows you how climate change has no boundaries. It affects all of us, and we all have to work together to really address this really serious and important issue.
Thank you so much, Carlisle.